Hello, is this thing on?
Hello everyone and welcome to Movie Mortis, where movie madness lives. My name is Nick and it's time to review Sonic the Hedgehog 3, or as I jokingly call it, Sonic Movie 3 Battle, the third Sonic live-action feature film based on the video game series of the same name. Have no fear, there are no spoilers here. In this movie, Sonic and friends must team up to stop Shadow the Hedgehog from enacting an evil plot. In order to stop Shadow, however, Sonic and team must work together with an unlikely ally. It's Robotnik. What, I'm not spoiling anything, this literally is shown in the trailer for the movie. Anyways, the story is really neat for a video game movie. It does rely heavily on pre-established Sonic lore, especially with Shadow's backstory, which I thought was the greatest quality of the movie. The whole plot gets going right out of the gate with Shadow breaking out of prison the first 5 to 6 minutes of the movie, and we already got our beginning going. Not to say this movie is incredibly fast-paced, it takes its time building on several character moments, especially with Shadow. This film kind of acts like an adventure of sorts, as Sonic and company start traveling in several places on Earth, and said places mostly serve as set pieces to get the plot going. As for our characters, they're kind of mostly the same people from the previous films, albeit with 2 new faces joining the fray. Those 2 new people being Shadow the Hedgehog and Gerald Robotnik, Eggman's granddad. Sonic is still quippy and cocky, which is accurate to how video game Sonic is, Tails is chill and smart, and Knuckles I pleasantly was surprised with. In the second movie, they made him a complete meathead who acted a bit dumb in his main form of comedy. He still does act a bit dumb every now and then, but he's not annoying and actually does have his own character moments, and he was actually a lot more funny in this movie compared to the second film. Tom and Maddie are back, and they actually don't seem to mind being involved in Sonic's escapades. They still do act like parental figures to Sonic and his pals. They don't have a lot of character moments, except for maybe something in the beginning, and they do kind of become absent for a bit in the film. Eggman and his granddad Gerald are essentially kind of the same character, except Eggman is a bit more unhinged compared to Gerald, but only slightly. Shadow, in my opinion, was probably the most interesting part of the film because they do establish him as more of a tragic character, and we explore his past of being in a lab most of his life along with his interactions with Maria, who is Gerald Robotnik's granddaughter. It's also worth noting that Maria was a person who meant a lot to Shadow. I don't know how most non-Sonic fans would feel about them, but as someone who is mostly familiar with Sonic lore, I think this does touch on Shadow and Maria's relationship pretty well, showing flashbacks of Shadow and Maria having fun and Shadow actually feeling joy for once. It all wraps up really nicely into the story as well. Shadow kind of balanced out the whole film, preventing it from being completely silly and childish, unlike Sonic 2 in my opinion, which kind of went a little overboard with the whole silly and wackiness. So don't get me wrong, I know Sonic's like a cartoon hedgehog and stuff, but Sonic 2 was just a little too much for me. I did like Sonic 1 though. Performances are all around pretty darn good. Ben Schwartz is a great Sonic, Colleen O'Shaughnessy is a good Tails, and Idris Elba is a great Knuckles. Jim Carrey does a great Eggman and Gerald, essentially playing the same character really. And Keanu Reeves is good, but at the same time, his Shadow performance is kind of just his normal Keanu Reeves voice. Like, you know dang well that is Keanu Reeves playing Shadow. Nonetheless, Keanu is great, and his Keanu voice is quite a refresher compared to Shadow's normal edgy voice that he has in the games and TV shows, and almost is very edgy and dark and mysterious. Keanu's voice makes it sound as if Shadow does have a heart in that dark, cold presence. Sadly, he doesn't say damn in the film, though.
Where's that damn 4th Chaos Emerald?
The humor in this film is absolutely better than the last 2 films. The first one was fine, but not a complete laugh-out-loud fest. And the second one, I personally thought was a lot more childish and annoying. And the third one, however, was a complete step up, and it got way more laughs out of me than the previous 2 films. That being said though, not every joke was a hit, and there was a couple jokes that made me roll my eyes and go, really? One of the jokes in the film was just Sonic quoting the cheap flight line from Sonic Adventure 2. It wasn't even funny within the context of the scene, they just put it in as a means of cheap fan service. I know all the Sonic movies do tend to show off some fan service, but that quote just felt really completely unnecessary, and it wasn't even funny within the context of the scene. It was just an entire one-for-one reenactment of the quote from Sonic Adventure 2. Talk about a cheap insertion of a joke. No build-up or dialogue? I'm out of here. I like slapstick better. The action set pieces of the film are pretty darn good, and 2 of my favorites were one in which Sonic is chasing Shadow on a motorcycle, and a fight at the end, which I dare do not spoil. And all these are accompanied by really great and colorful visual effects. Overall, Sonic 3 is a huge step up from the last 2 films, and is just an overall entertaining film. Shadow was handled incredibly well, and his entire arc in the story was kind of a showstopper for me. But that doesn't mean the rest of the film is bad either. Sonic 3 is not just a good movie, but a great sequel improving upon many of the things from the last 2 films and giving some great character moments to Sonic and Shadow. If you like Sonic, you will love this film. If you don't like Sonic, you will not like this film. If you are indifferent to Sonic, I'm pretty sure you'll find some entertainment out of this film. In the end, Sonic 3 is a good movie and a great sequel. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more movie-related content by us at Movie Mortis. I've been Nick, and I hope to see you in the next video.